weeks, hope fills the air like a bird's song after a long winter. The seeming endless road of the Dark Ages may soon come to an end. For years now, warlords have roamed the land. Every surface is covered with filth, and disease has ripped through towns like great tornadoes. King Sivolk has dreamed that building a great Gothic structure is the answer to leave this dark age behind forever. But for the last decade, there has been a massive decline in the building activity, and hardly any great cultural achievements have been made. Recently, while on one of his crusades, King Sivolk met a master architect named Elias. Elias told the king about his devotion to the mortar arts and how he longed to build a structure so great that people would travel hundreds of miles just to gaze at it. This meeting created a spark that ignited the king's dream with a fire that would burn away even the darkest of days forever. King Sivolk looks on from his castle and watches with great expectation as his dreams become a reality. With Elias's help, he has hired some of the greatest architects and monks in the land to complete this task. He waits patiently for this great abbey to be raised from the earth, filled with people, changing the course of history forever. All right, so here we are. We are going to start searching for the Holy Grail. Now, one thing I do like about this game, yes, it's true there are 12 phases. However, they're very straightforward once you know what's going on in them. You have this handy dandy reference guide. Every player gets their own reference guide. It walks you right through the steps. It even reminds you about the peasant feeding levels, which can be a little tricky to remember if you were just trying to memorize it. It tells you about income and end of game scoring. And on the back, buildings, you can actually upgrade a building by building the same kind of building twice, and it gives you all of the different benefits of doing that. All right, so let's start by rolling dice. Now, like I said before in the setup, these dice really would be rolled right now, and they will be in future rounds. However, I went ahead and did that during the setup just so you could see. I'm going to do my dice now. I have 9 dice here. A 10th one is possible if I build a certain building. All right, pretty good spread there, pretty good spread. So next thing after we roll dice, draw event card. All right, so here we go. Very first event. Okay, the very first event is Vikings. Now here's the thing. On the first round, the rules tell you that if you draw Vikings, then go ahead and put that at the bottom of the deck. So now we know the last event will be Vikings, but we don't have to face them the very first go round. Oh, and we have Vikings again. It does say keep drawing until you do not find Whoa. So, all right, so we're going to face Vikings 3 in a row. I promise I shuffled this deck, y'all. Let's see what we got here. Year of Plenty. All right, so there's 2 years of plenty and 2 disasters, and then we'll have 3 Vikings in a row. But this year of plenty, each player receives 1 of each resource. Okay, all right. Like that. So there's the wood, there's the grain, there's the stone, and there's the sand. Okay. All right. So next up, Abbey and Abbey and Crusade dice placement. All right. So now this Crusade right here is not going to help me get to the Holy Grail, right? However, it will count as negative prestige points if I don't complete it by the end of the game. So that's something I got to keep in mind. And I need 4 of the same. I need 4 of the same thing. So I think I could go ahead and put my 3 4s there, and then use 1 of the red 4s to complete it. And I think that's what I think I will do that. Oh wait. No, the library only lets me use that die in the Abbey, the one that I can flip any way I want. All right, so here we go. I'm going to put 3 dice on the Crusade. That also means I have to take a villager, and he goes with them on the Crusade. And then 1 here. All right, and so that Crusade will be completed at the end of the round. We will deal with that in the appropriate phase. All right, so now what are we going to do with the rest of these dice? I think I want to go ahead and get some more peasants going here. I do also want to think about getting some resources. I think in the build phase, I'm going to go ahead and build the altar because that's an easy extra defense. I tell you what though, while I've got the ability to, I'm going to go ahead and stock up on some stone. Oh, in fact, watch that. Okay, I'm going to use my tool bag to roll that up to a 6. You can roll it up 1. I'm going to put that. So that's going to end up getting me 3 stone. And that puts me at 5 total stone now. That year plenty is really going to help me out. Now with that done, I'm going to go ahead and recruit 3 villagers for the pews. And anytime you recruit villagers, they have to go in the leftmost pews until that is full. I'm going to go and use this die. So these dice, by the way, they represent my monks. So I'll put 1 up here to help defend against the darkness. Now, obviously, I'm still lacking 1 because the darkness is at 3. That's where it starts. But you'll see how we're going to deal with that in a second. All right, so that's the Abbey and Crusade dice placement. Next, purchase building cards. Well, I'm going to go ahead and spend 2 coins to purchase the scriptorium. So the scriptorium, when I build it, I'll get 5 prestige. It costs 3 coins, 3 wood, and 1 sand. May use 1 die rolled as if it were 2 dice of the same value. And then I gain 4 coins right now for purchasing the plans for this building. Okay, so that's the only building I'm gonna purchase, I think. So next up, and I just realized something. I actually didn't need to use that guy there because I didn't think about gaining these 4 coins. You'll see what I'm talking about here in a second. All right, so resource and initiative selection. Oh, wow. Y'all, I forgot. I did this out of order. It's not going to affect anything. I'll be sure to keep it in mind for the rest of the game. This phase, Abbey and Crusade dice placement, which is when I put these out, they don't go out in that phase. They go out in this phase, resource and initiative selection. So doesn't affect anything. It didn't change anything I bought or anything like that, but we'll keep that in mind for the future. All right, move peasants. Now, peasants start with 1 possible move. And so I'm just going to move this 1 peasant forward. The idea here is you're trying to get them forward to the baptistry, because once they're in the baptistry, then they can work in buildings like this, where you can see that peasant's kind of surrounded by a blue aura or whatever. That means he's been baptized. So most buildings require a baptized peasant. So you're trying to work them forward, obviously with only 1 move at a time. It gets real slow, but that's where training your clergy can help, because then they start moving forward faster. All right, so move peasants, build. All right, I am going to spend all 5 of my stone to build. And I've never been able to build the wall this fast, but this is fantastic, to build all 5 sections of the wall right away. That's going to give me 8 prestige, knocks me up to 13, and 1 defense. So this is my defense tracker here. So this obviously moves up a space, and now I'm at 2. But here's the cool thing. I can now spend okay, hold on. All right. I have enough to go ahead and build the altar now. However, I could make a trade. To get the extra wood that I need, because I need 1 more wood, and then I'll be able to build a scriptorium. So I think I will. I'm going to flip this over, and I'm going to spend 2 coins to buy 1 wood. And now, trades, by the way, can happen at any point during your turn. And now I will spend the 3 coins, the 3 wood. Well, those don't go up there. I'll fix that in a second. And the 1 sand to build the scriptorium, which is going to give me 5 prestige for building it. Up to 18. And I'll just put it in over here. Now, it's not going to do anything until I can get a peasant in there, So that's something I got to start working towards. But for now, it's built. It's there. I had the resources. So while I had that, I want to go and get that done because this is going to be a good building once we have it actually occupied. So that's all the building I'm going to do. All right. So now gardening, farming, and feeding. Okay. I don't have a garden. I don't have a farm, but I do need to feed my peasants. And it's the peasants that are here in the Abbey. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 peasants in the Abbey. You can see right here, 1 to 4 gets 1 grain. So there's the grain. Put that over here. Okay. And now we move on to combat the darkness and move darkness. All right. So I have 2 defense plus 1 monk, adding a 3rd defense. Darkness is at 3, so we're good there. And then the darkness moves up 1 space. All right, so next, collect income. All right, so income is 1 coin for each peasant in a building, tower, or pew. So 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, and now collect crusade reward / purchase new crusades. All right, so up here we get, let's go and take these guys off. So anytime a red die is used, it's gone for the game. All right, so the villagers come back. That one drops back in there. All right, and now you can see here we've got 6 prestige. And if this was a multiplayer game, then me and the player that helped me out would have hashed out exactly how all of this was going to get split up. Also, in a multiplayer game, if you finish a crusade by yourself, you don't put the points out immediately. You kind of hold on to it as hidden points. However, and I guess I could do that here in the solo game, but it's just easier for me to go ahead and put them out. That way I'm not too worried about it afterwards. So we're at 18 plus 6 is 24. And then I get a stone and another tool bag. And that crusade is completed. And then finally we reset, which basically means flip the tool bag back over, flip that over, take all the dice off the board. These go there, these go here, these come back over. Okay, so now with the buildings, the building market, you take the bottom, whatever's on the bottom of each row, you take off and discard. And slide everything else down and then fill it in. Bathhouse, bakery, which is good for feeding peasants. Another scriptorium. Blacksmith, that's good for crusades. And since this mission is all about crusades, I might need to get that. And the tithe barn. All right. Now, remember, I said if I were to build a second building of something I already have, it could be good. So with the scriptorium, for instance, let me show you right here. Each player may only have, oh, okay, well, there you go. Each player may only have 1 scriptorium, so that's no big deal. I can't do that. Same thing with the sheep farm. We only have 1 farm per game, sheep or dairy. There you go. All right, well, but like, for instance, the bakery. The bakery says feed 1 to 4 peasants each round. If you had a second bakery, feed up to 8 peasants. All right, so that's the idea there. So I think we are reset. So now we have to roll dice. Let's do. All right, so a 6 does not do anything, and then a 3, it's going to have him taking that bonus spot. And then 4, all right, now check it out. For the building market, got 2 5s, so that doesn't do anything. Only a 1, 2, 3, or 4 does something for the building market. So that's good to go. Oh, I forgot to take this year of plenty. That year of plenty is gone, obviously. All right, so next up, let's think. Oh, wait, I haven't rolled my dice yet. Let's make sure we do that. All right, let's see. We've got. Oh, by the way, y'all, at the same time when here in phase 11, that's when you collect crusade rewards and purchase new crusades. I didn't purchase a new crusade yet, and the reason why is because In this round, I'm going to start using a villager to, I guess they basically are scouting to try to figure out where the Holy Grail is, gathering intel or whatever. The idea is, and now here in phase 1, I'm going to set aside 1 die. I'll set this one aside. I'll just put on top of the Crusades there. And so when we get back down to phase 11, I'll pay the 1 coin, which normally I would draw just a single Crusade. That will let me draw 3 and hope that one of them is the Holy Grail. So when we get there, we'll look at it, how that works a little bit better. But for now, we're good to go on that. Okay. So here's my what's left. I got 4 3s, 2 4s, and 2 6s. All right. So now draw event card. Disaster. All right. So here we go. Forest fire. No wood production this round. Players may still make trades to collect wood. All right. Not the worst thing in the world. Not the worst thing in the world. So in fact, you know what? I'm gonna put, just so I make sure, I have a habit of forgetting important things. Let's put that down there so we don't forget and accidentally assign some dice there. All right, so next up, Abbey and Crusade dice placement. Well, I don't have a Crusade, so I'm not worried about that. I do want to start moving this guy along, though. He needs to get going. So we're going to put, well, let's see. Let's put these 2 4s and then a 6 there. So this will move him all the way up there. He's already at the maximum. Because see, he starts off the track, and that's 1, 2, 3. So now I gain +2 movement during the move villagers phase. Or excuse me, move peasants phase. So that will actually let me get somebody into the baptistry right away, which will be good. So I've got the rest of these guys. The question is, do I want to go ahead and get more? Do I want to just load up with peasants and deal with having to feed them? I guess if I get the bakery, I'm going to wait. Let me get the bakery first, and then we'll look into loading up with peasants. All right. So you know what? I'll get one more. I'm going to get 1 just to keep things moving along. So there's 1 additional peasant. All right. Next up, we've got the purchase building cards. All right. So I am going to risk leaving the bakery up there for now. And I'm going to instead pay 3 coins to get the blacksmith. The blacksmith, you can see, costs 1 coin, wood, stone, and sand. I'm going to gain 2 wood right away. When I build it, I'll get 6 prestige. But plus or minus a pip on one die when used for crusades each round. That's going to become important, I think. But let me make sure I get the 2 wood. All right. And keep in mind, I'm pretty sure, see, it says that players, no wood production this round. So I'm pretty sure that just simply means I can't go and place my dice there. All right, so that's the only building I'm going to purchase. Let's go to resource and initiative selection. All right, so, you know, something I didn't think about. I did not think about this. This is gonna be bad for me. I need 1 more defense. And I did not set a die over there to deal with that. So I think, but before I move on to phase 5, I'm gonna have to, in phase 4, spend 2 more coins to get the cloister. And let me show you, that's 3 stone, just gives me 1 defense, period. All right, so, and I gain a grain for getting it. All right, so now in my resource and initiative selection, I'm going to need to go ahead and make sure I get 2 more stone. Can I get 2? I will, but it's going to look like this. Take a 6 and a 3. So I'm actually wasting 1 value there because that's a 9, and I only need 8 to get 2 stone, but that's what's going to happen. We really need that defense, so that's fine. We'll be fine with that. Now let's look and see what we need for the blacksmith that we don't have. We need sand. We don't have any sand, and really that's where we're hurting for. So we'll need 1 more stone, but that we can't get right now. All right, so sand. Well, we need 5. There's 6. So we're not being particularly efficient with our values there, but we did get some stuff that we needed. So hopefully it'll work out. Oh, but you know what? I'll go ahead and use this cart. I should have used it right when I did it, but we're still in the same phase. So I'm gonna use that cart to get an additional stone because I'll need that for the blacksmith here in a minute. Okay, so next up, move peasants. So remember I have 3 movement now. 1, 2. Now, moving from here to the baptistry is a free movement, so that's good there. And moving from the baptistry to a building is a free movement. So the scriptorium is now working. That means that I may use 1 die rolled as if it were 2 dice of the same value from this point forward. All right, and so that was 1, 2. So I have 1 more movement. I'll go ahead and move that guy forward. Okay, so next up, build. So we're going to build the cloister. There's my 3 stone. Put the cloister in here. That's 1 defense. So now we're at 3 defense, so we're good to go there. Do I have, no, okay. So that's all I'm gonna do for that. All right. So next up, we have the gardening, farming, and feeding. Well, we don't have a garden or a farm. We do have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 peasants. So that's gonna be 2 grain. All right, so I need to find an alternative way to feed them. I really need to get the bakery this next time if I can. All right, combat the darkness. We're good there, so we need to move the darkness up. Now we're at 4 for the darkness, and every turn it'll increase from this point forward. Collect income. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. And collect crusade reward, purchase new crusades. Okay, so got to spend 1 coin to purchase new crusades, and we grab 3 of them. And there it is. There's a Holy Grail already. Okay, so now, what happens if we find the Holy Grail? I must choose one of the other 2 cards to be attached to the Holy Grail, and so basically it's 1 giant crusade is what the rules say. And then the other card gets shuffled back into the draw pile. All right, so let's look at this. So here's the Holy Grail right here. This one is 5. This one's 4. This one's got much better reward. It's got 8 right there, but I think that we're going to go with the 4 just to try to complete this. All right, so basically all 9 of these are going to need to have the same number die on them. This is going to get very interesting. So let's put this up here. And this one gets shuffled back into the crusade spot. Oh, you know what? By the way, when I built that cloister a second ago. Oh, two things. Oh, crap. Built the cloister. I don't gain 1 defense yet. Oh, okay. Let's back up, y'all. Don't make this mistake. I don't get 1 defense yet because the cloister doesn't have anybody in it. You gotta have somebody in it to get the defense, which means that when I should have gotten this 6 prestige for building it, but I did not get the defense. All right, so what that means is that this right here was a 3 or was a 2 when it needed to be a 3, because remember that's where the darkness was whenever we checked it, which means that I have failed to fight back the darkness. So I'm going to lose 1 peasant that is actually gone, period. I can't recruit that peasant ever again. And 2 prestige for each darkness level. But it's only 1 darkness level. All right. So I'm going to lose 1 peasant. So we'll just take this guy. He dies, and I lose 2 prestige for not having successfully combated the darkness. Okay. So now we're caught back up. We've got the Holy Grail. Well, we found the path to the Holy Grail. And the last thing we got to do is reset. All right, so we're back, and let me point out a couple of interesting things that have popped up here. All right, so First off, we've got the bakery, which we've already talked about. It feeds 1 to 4 peasants each round. But we've also got the garden, which basically generates, I'll show you here, it generates 1 grain for every 3 grain I currently have during the gardening phase. So if I can stock up on enough grain, it'll just start generating enough to where I don't have to worry about continuing to gather from out here. Also, the second garden is here, which and what happens if I get the second garden and build it on top of my first garden is that the cost of grain out here drops to 2, but I can still trade it at a value of 3. So that's cool. Now the other cloister is out there too. And the cloister, as you might expect, just gives you 1 extra defense if you build that. Okay, so here we go. Let's roll the dice. We've got the building market, 2 4s. All right, so really only one of them matters, so I'll leave 1 out. All right, well, that cloister, just like that, is gone, as is the second garden. So those 2 things don't matter. All right, so now for the resources, a 6, which does nothing, and a 5 down here on the sand. Okay, let's roll my dice. All right, so I've got 3 2s, 2 3s, a 4, 2 5s, and a 6. As far as our crusade goes, I think the 3s are going to be the way to go because we have 2 3s over here to help us out. So if I put my 2 3s out there, we can go ahead and be almost halfway done with the crusade right now. Plus, with the blacksmith, we'll be able to start really kind of finagling that a little bit. But before we do anything, we've got to draw our event card. Another year of plenty. All right, so good news, year of plenty. Bad news, we have no more years of plenty in the deck. Each player may build 1 building for free. Must have building in the personal supply before phase 7. Sweet. So when phase 7 comes around, I can build that blacksmith for free. Y'all help me remember that. Okay. Abbey and Crusade dice placement. All right, well, let's go ahead. I'm going to start committing my 3s to finding the Holy Grail. So you can see already we've got it almost halfway done. We need 5 more 3s in order to complete this crusade. So what will happen is at the end of this phase, at the end of this round, those dice are going to stay there. They're going to be taken until they get freed up by completing the quest for the Holy Grail. All right, so still got to do Abbey placement, and let's think about this. We're going to need 4 defense. I can go ahead and gain 1 additional defense. Hold on, let's not put the 6 there. Let's go 4, 5, and 5. We'll move this guy 1, 2, 3. There's a defense. So that gets me to there. The question is, I'll be able to build an altar. I have the wood. So that'll be another defense. That'll get me to 4. So I won't have to worry about the darkness. Not only that, but the cloister, I'll be able to man the cloister here in a second as well. All right. So, oh wait, now do I want to... Am I going to leave those out? No. You know what? Let's get... I feel good about our chances with... see, okay, I got to think about food. I got to think about food here. I'm just going to gain 1 more peasant because I'm going to try to gather up some grain here in a second. We'll see. We're going to figure something out here. With the garden, I think is where we're going to go. All right. So where were we? We did the Abbey purchase building cards. Okay. Now, the garden's going to cost me 2 coins. If I want to build the altar, that's 4 coins. So I really can't do that. Oh, yes, I can. All right, here we go. So I'm going to spend 1 coin. To get the tithe barn. All right, now Keep greater than 3 of each resource at the end of the round. Normally, you have to discard, or you have to discard down to 3 resources of each resource at the end of the round. But now I'll be able to do more of that. But more importantly, I get 4 coins for having purchased this. So I made a bit of a profit on that. All right, and now I'll use 2 coins to buy the garden. All right, so again, one of these buildings we'll build for free here in a second. Now you can't just go, oh, I do get the 2 wood for that also. You can't just go willy-nilly just buying buildings, because at the end of the game, building prestige points down here, any of these that I have not built count as negative prestige. So that's something you gotta keep in mind. All right, so that's the end of my purchase building cards phase. Resource and initiative selection. I'm not worried about getting the initiative back yet, just because we have 1 more card before we get to Vikings. Once we get to Vikings, I'll probably get the initiative back and deal with that. But for now, let's see. If I'm going to build a garden, I'm going to want to have 3. I can't quite get to. Oh yeah, I can. Okay, here we go. I'm going to flip the tool bag over, roll this up to a 3. There we go. So now I get 3 grain. And what do I want to do with this last one? I mean, really the only thing I can do, I guess I could get wood. Is it worth getting the wood right now? I'm going to take the initiative. Let's take the initiative. Let's go and get it. Might as well. All right, so I'm first player again, which is only really relevant for Vikings in this situation. All right, and I gained a cart. Okay. All right, so now we are at Move Peasants. They move 3 times. 1, then a free move to the baptistry, a free move to the cloister, bumps me up to 4. Then 2, 3. All right. Okay. So, and now we're at build. Now remember, build, we can build one of these for free. And which one can I not afford to build right now? I guess I should look at that. I can build, well, no, if I build the garden, it'll take my 3 grain, and then its ability won't activate. Well, actually, it's not going to activate this turn anyway, because I don't have anybody manning it, but more importantly, I won't have any grain to feed anybody. But so I'm going to build the garden over here next to the scriptorium. And now let's see anything else that I can build right now. Do I have? I think I have. Yeah, I do. I have everything for the blacksmith. Let's go and get the blacksmith built as well. Oh, let's not forget, I get 2 prestige for building the garden, and the blacksmith costs 1 coin, 1 wood, 1 stone, and 1 sand. And the blacksmith is built, which is 6 prestige. And the tithe-born will just hang tight for now. It's not. Actually, I could build that too if I trade for stone. Don't know. I need all 3 of these to build it. So yeah, so never mind. Not going to do any trading. We'll build that later. Okay, so gardening, farming, feeding. Have a garden. It's not, nobody's working in it right now. So no farms, so just feeding. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's going to cost 2 grain. Next up, combat the darkness. We have what we need, so the darkness just moves up to 5. All right, collect income. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so 5 coins. Not collecting any crusade reward. I'm not going to purchase a new crusade because I'm just focusing on that one. And now we reset. All right, so let's go ahead and roll the dice. 6, which does nothing, and then 4 takes out the monk's quarters, which sucks because that would have given me the extra die that I can use in the game. So that's been taken, and the bakery. All right. And then these 2 5s. All right, well, the other 5 didn't really do anything, but that one takes up the sand spot. All right, and then hey, we've got some 3s. Okay. And let's get rid of this. All right, so we know this is going to be a disaster right here. We've got Thief breaks into Abbey treasury. All players lose 2 coins each. Well, that is, in terms of disasters, not a terrible disaster, so I'm fine with that. Okay. Next up, let's see. Abbey and Crusade dice placement. Well, we know we're putting these 3s out. But this is really, really taking me down to, I mean, look, I only have 4 dice left. Okay, so this is really getting bare bones here. So the question becomes, what's the best way? If I can figure out a way to build the chapel, I'll get an extra defense automatically. 1 stone, 1 sand. That's going to be tricky. I forgot to flip this back over. Oh, here we go. Okay, if I put these guys over here, all right, that's going to be 3 moving here. The priest is now, he is fully trained. My bonus here is I get plus 2 resources. Any 2 resources I want. Well, guess what 2 resources I want? Let's take stone and sand. The question becomes, do I any reason to get wood with that guy or something like that? Or do I think I'm just going to get another villager in here. Okay. Purchase building cards. Are there any I really want to purchase right now? Oh, wait. Back up. No. Put that up here. Okay. I need grain. I don't know what I'm thinking. I need grain. If my garden's going to work at all, I definitely need grain. And on top of that, I got to feed my people. Okay, so I'm going to use a tool bag to flip this to a 3 so that not yet actually, sorry, I'm skipping ahead. I will use a tool bag to flip it to a 3 when the time comes to put stuff out there. All right, so now moving along to the purchase building cards. I think I'm going to hold off. Is the library worth getting 2 of? May flip at most 2 dice each round. I forgot that I can flip dice to any side I want, but I'm not going to worry about getting a second library. Obviously, I haven't needed to use it that much. So I'm not going to buy any buildings this turn. All right, so resource and initiative selection. All right, so now here's what we're doing. Flipping this over. Oops, not both of them. I just need 1. Okay, that's going to turn this into a 3. Put that there. The scriptorium says I may use 1 die rolled as if it were 2 dice of the same value. So this is actually going to be 2 3s here. That's 6 total, which is going to get me 2 grain, and I'll use my wagon to bring in a 3rd grain. So there's 3 grain coming in right there. All right, moving on. Move peasants. Again, they still have 3 movement, so 1 free movement there, and we'll go to here. All right, and then 1 2. Blacksmith is still unmanned, so I still can't use it, but that's all right. So that was the move peasants. Build phase. Oh, if I'm going to make the garden worth anything, I need to have the tithe barn built. Well, maybe not. Okay, I definitely need to have the chapel built, though. All right, so here we go. Chapel. We have 4 prestige, but here's the best part. Because I've completed priest training, I now gain 1 See, the priest training is complete, so I gain 1 defense. That puts me at 5, so I'm good against the darkness because it does not require anybody to be manning it. Oh yeah, so that was the stone and the sand. Now I think maybe, so I don't have to worry about defense next time, let's go ahead. I don't see any reason not to do this. I'm going to spend 2 wood and 4 coins to build my altar right here, which are going to bump me up to 6 defense. So next time I don't have to worry about defense. All right, so that's the build phase. Is there anything else I want to do? I don't think so. All right, moving on to gardening farm. Oh, so gardening. All right, so I have 4 grain. So for every 3 grain, my garden gives me an additional 1. So there we go. Now I'm at 5, and then feeding 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is still just 2 grain. All right, there we go. And that gets me down to 3, so I don't have to worry about discarding any. Fantastic. All right. Combat the darkness. We're good there. Move the darkness up. It moves up to 6. Collect income. How many did I say? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. Oh, when I built my chapel, I forgot to get my prestige. I have a real hard time remembering, even when I'm not videoing, I have a real hard time remembering to get prestige when I build buildings. It's something I gotta really, really try to remember. Okay, and then next up, we're not doing anything with Crusade. Still time to reset. Okay, all right, so here we go. Oh, let's get rid of the disaster. So now we know the Vikings are coming. Oh, actually, it's a good thing I took that first player token because the Vikings are going to come before I have a chance to do that again. All right, so let's roll the dice. Let's roll the dice. Now, one thing real quick, just something interesting. This blacksmith has come out. If I were to build a second blacksmith, what it lets me do is use, instead of +1 or -1 to a pip, I can use any value on the die I want. All right, so where are we at? Roll dice. Roll dice. Let's do that. All right, a 5 does nothing, but a 2 will take out the Abbot's Den and the bathhouse. And then, where are we at? Here we go. A 1. Oh, well, okay. I mean, hopefully they took the first player token back. I guess they really want the Vikings. And then the 2 goes right there for the wood. That's not terrible. All right, so now the event. All right, so all the Vikings are going to work the same. All right. So for 1 to 5 players, we use these first 2 spots. You can see if it was 3 to 5, you go down to here, 4 to 5, 5 to 5. So 1 to 5 players, all right? So the first thing I'm going to do is roll these 2 Viking dice. All right, so a 2, because the highest always goes up top, and then a 1. And so basically myself and, oh, I forgot to roll my dice. Hold on. That was phase 1 there. Ooh, yeah, look at that. Okay, so good here, but also bad here. All right, bad in terms of Vikings, good in terms of Crusade. So how this is going to work is with the Vikings, this player is the first player. They have to deal with that first die. They can't because they don't have a 2. So instead they lose a peasant. Now I have to deal with the 1. I don't have a 1, so I now lose a peasant and I lose 1 prestige. But wait, it gets worse because we have because we did not defeat the Vikings. The way you defeat the Vikings is by having more dice than peasants on that card. Obviously, we have nothing but peasants, so they not only killed one of my peasants and I lost 1 prestige, but they also ransacked and razed one of my buildings to the ground. So I'm gonna say I think it's the library because I have barely used the library, if at all. I'll remind you what it was. So unfortunately, that means that this peasant also died. So the library is burned to the ground, and that peasant's dead, and these peasants are dead. Well, I mean, we'll leave them there for just to remind you till the end of the round, I guess, till the reset phase, but they're dead as well. All right, so that was pretty awful. However, I am going to be getting most of my monks back here in a second. All right, so dealt with the event, Abbey and Crusade dice placement. All right, here we go. Boom, boom. So when we get down to phase 11, we'll be able to collect our rewards for all of this, which is fantastic. Okay. Now, do we want to do anything in the Abbey? I guess I want to be able to build the tithe barn here. So I need to make sure that I have dice available to get the resources I need. I need 2 more wood and I need 1 stone. So I'm actually not going to do anything in the Abbey this time. All right, so next up, purchase buildings. I'm just going to, okay, I'm going to spend 1, I'm going to go for the victory points here. I'm going to spend 1 coin because we're getting close to the end of the game. Buy the refectory. It's very expensive, 8 wood and 1 stone, but that gets me, once I put somebody in here, I get 10 victory points. See, it's that, or prestige points. Receive the 10 prestige points with a working peasant in this building. So unlike most, you don't get those until they're in there. And then 4 gold, though, is what I get for having purchased this. Next up, resource and initiative selection. All right, so we want to make sure that we get the tithe barn built to try to make our garden really work well. And so we're going to need the wood. So that's going to get me 3 wood right there. And we need stone. So that will get me just 1 stone, but that's all we need. So next up we have move peasants. So 1 goes to the baptistry, goes to the blacksmith. Unfortunately, I have no more peasants. I'm kind of running low on peasants. It's been a bit of a rough time. So we might have to restock here in a second, even though we are getting close to the end of the game. Next up, build. All right, we're going to build the tithe barn. So we need 3 wood, 1 stone, 2 coins, and that builds this. So I get 6 prestige. Puts me up to 45. And not building anything else right now. Gardening is going to gain 1 grain, and then farming and feeding 1, 2, 3, 4. We lose that 1 grain. And next up, we've got combat the darkness. We've got 6 here, 6 there. We're good. Move up to 7. Collect income. I'm only getting 4 income this time. Okay. And now collect the crusade rewards. Okay, well, let's just collect the ones that are on the face value first, but I believe there's some bonus stuff for having found the Holy Grail. All right, so let's look at this one first. All right, get these dice back. The red ones go away. Do get a peasant returning, so that's good. All right, so we get 6 prestige points. It puts us up to 51. A stone and a tool bag. Got lots of tool bags. And then all these dice come back, which is great. And then 8 prestige points, 59, plus sand and the Holy Grail. And what does the Holy Grail do? All right, so the way these relics work is I can do 1 of 2 things with them. I can either keep it until the end of the game to receive 2 prestige, or I can use its special ability at some point and then discard it. The Holy Grail may be discarded to reach the top of the next clergy level. So that's something to consider. I'm going to hold on to it for now. But, you know, like for instance, if I was to be here, by discarding it, I would get 5 prestige. Of course, if I can make it there on my own, I would get those 5 prestige anyway, right? And then get the 2 for holding on to it. So let's see what we can do if we can try to hold on to it. Because this is the Search for the Holy Grail mission, we get an additional 8 points for finding it, so that puts us up to 67. All right, now I am going to go ahead and buy another crusade because I want to try to complete 1 more at least. So there's 1 coin. This crusade, all right, 4 dice, 6 prestige, a stone, and tool bag. Okay, And now reset. All right, here we go. Final 2 turns of the game. We've got 2 6s, so nothing happening there. That's good. Oh, but a 2 and a 4. So we're losing the dairy farm and the blacksmith and the solarium and the monk's quarters. And let's see, now that I've got all my dice back. All right, now we know this is a Viking, so let's deal with him. Got a 5 and a 1. All right, well, another peasant is going to be lost by that player, by the red player, but I can deal with a 1. All right, so when you place a die, you immediately gain 1 victory point or 1 prestige point. However, here's the problem. Technically, this is a loss, which really sucks because that means another building is burned down. Honestly, the only one that I'm okay with losing is the tithe barn. I'm just going to have to, after all I went through to get that built, I'm going to lose it. Because see, the reason why it's a loss is because you must have more dice than peasants. So this is why the red player going first can be such a pain. And so I might want to try to go in there and take that back from him here in this last turn. All right, so anyway, next up, of course, we have the Abbey and Crusade dice placement. I'm going to go ahead and move this guy all the way to there. All right, so I gain 4 victory points for reaching the top of the bishop track. Puts me at 72. Also, I now have 6 movement with my peasants in the pews. All right, so now purchase building cards. Do I want any of those buildings? I don't think so. I'm going to leave that alone. I'm not going to purchase any buildings. So now resource and initiative. All right, so I want to try to get this refectory built for those prestige points. And I need 8 wood, which is a matter of I can get. All right, I'm going to put these 2 here. That's going to get me 6 wood. I'm going to trade for the rest. Well, I mean, I have 1 already, so I'm at 7 wood now, total. 7 wood. And I'll go ahead. Let me go into the trade right now. There's 2 coins. Gets me 1 more wood. All right, so now I'm at 8. I also needed 1 stone, which I have, but let's go ahead and grab another one while we're at it. Oh, no. You know what? No. Put that stone back. I'm going to grab the initiative just to try to prevent another building from getting blown up. And I also get this, which is a tool bag. Got 4 of those now. I haven't really been using them a whole lot. So now I move the peasants. And like I said, I'm at 6 movement now with the peasants. So 1, 2, 3, free into the baptistry. 1, 2, 3, free into the baptistry. So now they're ready to take a building as soon as I can. So next up is build. And we have, like I said, the 8 wood. And 1 stone to build the refectory over here in the ruins of the library that got torched. Now I don't get those 10 prestige points though until I can move one of these workers here. And oh no, I just realized I've been ignoring darkness. Okay, I'm only going to go back as far as this current phase. All right, so here's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, and the stone. All right, this might mess me up, but I'd rather I'm gonna do this so I can not have to deal with the darkness. All right. So the battlement is going to take 6 coins, 3 wood, 1, 1, and 1. All right, so there's my 6 coins. Oops. 3 wood. 1, 1, and 1. All right, so now this gets built. I'll put it up here, I guess. So let's put it down here. 10 victory points for building it. Puts me at 82. So here's the cool thing. Archers get built in the build phase, which is what I'm in right now. You take anybody up here. They don't have to be baptized. Spend 5 coins. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And he is now trained as an archer, which gives me 1 defense. So I'll be good against the darkness. All right. That kind of stinks though, but it is what it is. So now we move on to guarding. The garden's not doing anything. That thing is hard to keep running properly if I don't have everything set up right. And unfortunately this time I kind of let it get away from me. All right, so the garden doesn't do anything. What we've got here is 2, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's going to take 2 grain. So there goes my 2 grain. Combat the darkness, we're good. That moves up to 8. Collect income. What did I say? 7. Yep. And did not go out on a crusade that time. I'll have to make sure I get that done this next time. I was so excited to have all my guys back. All right, so finally reset. All right, here we go. Here we go. Final round, y'all. Let's see what we can do. All right, let's roll the dice. 5 and 3. 5 does nothing. The 2 is going to take out the bathhouse and the solarium. All right. Now we know this is going to be a Viking. 5 and 2. Oh boy. And now this time I don't have, look, okay. All right. So I would need a 5 to fight that Viking. I don't have it. So instead I lose. Oh my gosh, this is just awful. I lose one of my guys and he loses one of his, which really doesn't matter. Once one of us loses peasant, then we've lost the battle anyway. And then the Viking, of course, is going to destroy a building. Well, you know what? All right, so what are we going to destroy? You know what? It's going to be the blacksmith because we're not going any more crusades after this. So the blacksmith gets destroyed along with that poor peasant. The Vikings have just been ransacking the crap out of me this time. I've usually done pretty well against the Vikings, and they've really been a pain this time. I mean, I lost. It was all 3 battles, right? So next up, Abbey, Crusade, Dice, Play. All right, we're gonna use this one. Oh no, they can't go on a crusade anymore because they've lost all their villagers. Wow. Okay, so that crusade's gonna end up negative points. That's fine. All right, so, oh wait, no, here. Okay, all right, check it out. First off, let's get a villager in here. That villager is going to immediately go on a crusade. All right, I'm going to use these 3. Now, the scriptorium says may use 1 die rolled as if it were 2 dice at the same value. Does not say it has to be in the Abbey. Doesn't say it has to be over here. I'm going to double check the more detailed rules regarding the buildings just to make sure. There's nothing in the detailed rules saying it has to be on this board or here. So I'm going to assume that one of these can be used like that. It takes up 2 spots, and that's going to make that crusade complete. Okay. Now, we really need to try to gain 1 more defense if we can. I'm not sure how we're going to work that out. Okay, I've got a plan. We need to get up to 1 more defense. We'll figure it out here in a second. But I'm going to need both of these. Those are going to go to this board here in a minute. So I guess I'll leave all of that alone I don't see any reason to gain any more peasants right now. Okay, so we're good. All right, so next up, purchase building cards. Well, we are going to purchase the Solarium, which gives me 1 grain. And what this does, obviously I'll get, oh, this says that's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. Well, I'll get the prestige points at least. So I get 7 prestige points. It's gonna cost 1 coin, 4 wood, 2 stone. I'll gain 1 defense and may keep 4 of each resource at the end of each round if I have a worker in there. I'm not gonna be able to get a worker in there, but it's okay. I'll still get the prestige points for it. All right, so where are we at? We just purchased building, resource and initiative selection. All right, so I'm going to use 2 of these to roll this up to a 6. Put that here. 1 more. That gets me 3 stone. Okay, and then I need 1 more wood. So let's just go in and collect a bunch of wood here. That'll get me 3 wood. And then I'll just grab some grain while we're out here too. So I'll move the peasants. So this guy will go to the refectory. I'll get 10 refectory points. Gets me up to 92. All right, so now gardening, farming, and feeding. All that's going to happen there is feeding. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is 2 grain, which, oh man, okay. I'm glad I went and did that. That would have been bad. And then combat the darkness. This is where we're kind of messed up here a little bit. So if we can't combat the darkness, we lose 1 peasant. Isn't that what I said? All right, so we lose 1 peasant. So I guess I'll lose this one. He dies and I lose 2 prestige. And now the darkness, I mean, it could move, but it's the last round of the game, so there's no real reason to move it. Let's get some income. We've got 4 income. Let's take a 5 and make change. And then crusade. All right, so we complete this crusade. We're going to get 6. And stone and another tool bag. And now we go into end game scoring. So let's take a look at this. If I had any sheep, I would get 2 prestige for each. No sheep. If I had cows, 3 prestige each. None of those. Players with second money changer built, don't have any of those. Player with second tithe barn built, don't have that. Add up all crusade card prestige. I've already done that throughout the game. Subtract the prestige of any buildings not built or crusades not completed. Oh, I missed. How did I miss the move presents? Let's get right over the build step, y'all. All right, so real quick, just the whole point and what I was doing out here was so I could build the solarium. So that was 1 coin, 4 wood, and 2 stone. Would build the solarium and give me 7 additional points. So 103. All right, but so then you would subtract the prestige of any buildings not built or crusades not completed. And that puts me at 103 points. And I did successfully find the Holy Grail, still have it. It puts me at 105. I believe that is a tie for my best score of all time. And that is King's Abbey. So there you go. That is the solo version of King's Abbey. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you like my channel, please subscribe. Find me over on Twitter at boredoffline. And until next time, if you're bored online, board offline.